All right. Today I'm mixing some drums together on that same song I did last time, catch up on this wave. And right now I'm just gonna work with the kick, snare, and bass. Those are the most important parts to doing this correctly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and focus on that real quick. And what's up, Romeo? Mickle Gatsby, I think. What's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Mixing some disco drums today. And maybe I might get to the vocals, but I only got like 15 minutes before my next session, so I don't know if I'm gonna get to that, but at least get to the kick, snare, and bass. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna turn it up pretty loud just so I can hear the low frequencies in here a lot better. Um, Low frequency energy is harder to hear for our ears, so sometimes you got to gain it up pretty loud just to get a good sense of what it sounds like. I also got a sub in here, so having the sub in here helps a lot, especially with the bass, being able to understand what I'm hearing. So kick sounds pretty good. I'm just gonna try to EQ out some of the rumble in there that I don't need. I'm gonna mix that with the bass and see which one sounds the best. But I'm guessing that the kick, since it's kind of disco-y, I think I'm gonna make the bass the super sub, like the really low energy, and then the kick be like right above it, taking over it right around the 125 hertz range. What's going on, Samuel? The first thing I'm gonna do is just take off a lot of this low end rumble, which is anything below. On this kick, it's sounding like anything below like 50 or so would be. Okay, I completely gets rid of all the low end. I want to keep some of it, so let's break back off of it a bit. I can get to about here before it starts to sound a little different. Like the kick sounds different when I go past that point. So I'm just gonna make this a little steeper, cut it off even sharper. Still feeling the and of the kick a bit, which might be okay. So I'm just gonna play with the bass and see how it sounds with the bass. And I like to use this thing called Track Spacer, which will sidechain the kick and the bass. So I'm gonna go to sidechain up here. My track is called DM Kick Stem. So I'm gonna go down here to DM Kick Stem, where it's at. Where is it? Right here. Make sure I'm not in low latency mode, because if you're in low latency mode, this will not trigger this plugin. It bypasses it. Okay. So now I want to listen to the bass by itself first without being sidechained, just to see if I have enough low energy to let the bass be the sub. Okay, it does have some low energy, but it's not like super deep. It's kind of more on the, I guess, neck area of it. So it's a little bit more high frequency that I want. So I'm gonna actually keep the kick as my super sub. And I'm gonna extend this back out to 20. And I'm gonna make the bass sit in the mid range, the lower mids. Oh, also, if you change this to linear phase, it just corrects it better. There's a lot of science that goes into it, but linear phase works better on lower frequency instruments, is what I've learned. All right, so what I did with the kick, I'm actually going to do with the bass as well. I'm going to cut off some of those low frequencies. Since I went back up, well, was it up? I went back down on the kick. the frequency. So I'm gonna go back up on the bass so that they don't occupy the same space. Anything below 50 or so, I like to just have a singular instrument dominate that range, or else it gets too muddy. Got K Matador in the chat. We got a bunch of songs out there right now. Got Joppa. What's up, man? Haven't seen him in forever. Got the drummer extraordinaire on there. That's sounding better to me already. Let me just work on the side chain a bit. So I want the bass to duck every time the kick hits. All right, you can see it's ducking right here. So it's doing the job, but I want to also control it a little bit more. So if I do that, I can go to attack and release and just play with the attack and the release on the bass side chain so that when the kick hits, it dominates maybe this frequency area right here. Especially the lower frequency is what I want because, like I said, I just want one instrument to dominate that. So I want to duck it at the bass, but I can use this attack and release to control how fast that happens and how slow that the release is of the compression, which really does make a big difference when it comes to the balance of the kick and bass. Okay, I'm hearing some like nasty frequencies in the bass as well that I want to try to get rid of. So I'm gonna go to this Fab filter and then just EQ out some of these frequencies that just don't sound that good. And this, I'm just getting rid of some of the high end energy. We don't need it. It doesn't really affect the sound of the bass anyway. It's just a bunch of noise that's introduced into the mix that we don't need. So we EQ it out. Okay, that sounds pretty good. I do feel like the kick is a bit dynamic, so I'm gonna put a compressor on there. Trying to decide which one I want to put on here. Slate. Let me go to Slate and just find something with a good attack and release. I know this red one is good on drums, so let me just try this one. It sounds good. The kick's just a bit, it is dominating the bass a bit much. And I already did the volume balancing, so this is mainly like I'm trying to get things dialed in a little bit better now. So I'm gonna go ahead and compress the kick a bit more because I like the volume balance at some point. So adding these plugins, I don't want to mess up the volume balance. I just want to make it even sweeter. So I would want to even control it even more. That sounds pretty good. I think I could EQ this bass even nicer, but let me add something else like the snare just to see if I need to do that or not. I like doing the deeper ones first and then the higher frequency stuff later, so that's just personal preference. I feel like by cutting some of this bass, I'm hearing more of the snare. So the bass is just taking up a lot of room in the mid range, which is cool. I mean, the bass is a very important instrument, but I also don't want to mask a lot of sounds that I got going on. What's going on, y'all? Brother Pathos, what's going on? Okay, that sounds pretty good. I just know I have another snare that I need to add on here. So there is a such thing as being too punchy. So everything's about balance when it comes to mixing. So we have to make sure things punch just the way we want them to punch and not too much, not too little. Okay, so let's go to this snare backbeat, and then I have to have a session in 2 minutes. So yeah, I think I want to EQ this one to be the deeper snare. It's already the deeper snare, but there's a punchiness to it that I'm not really loving. So I'm just gonna get rid of some of that punchiness, and I'm gonna get out of here. There it is. It was a bit harsh. Get rid of all that low end rumble that we don't hear and we don't need. It's just low energy taking up space in the mix. But yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna do the rest of the drums and stuff after my session and add the bass. I might get back on live later on tonight. We'll see. But thanks for checking me out. Doing some disco drums. Didn't get terribly far today, but got a late start. But I'll try to make it up later. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll check y'all next time. Peace.